So I had 4 rocks left. I decided to do something a little bit more intricate for these last few. We're going to do these fun sugar skulls. So we're going to lay our skull shape out on our rock. We're going to outline our eyes so we have a space to fill with our flowers. So as you can see, I am filling the entire hollowed out space with the different flower shape, and you can do flowers lots of different ways here. You're going to see 3 completely different flowers that I did for the eyes on all of these. So some of them might need 2 coats, so just go ahead and get them laid down. You can adjust their placement a little bit as well when you do the lining. So we're going to go ahead and outline our eyes here. And then we're going to add on our mouth. So we're going to do our lining first, and then we're going to go around the edges of the teeth to kind of round them out so they're not super sharp. Next, we're going to go back and outline the rest of our eyes, the negative space that we're going to fill in black later around the flowers. We're going to add on a nose, which is basically a rounded off bottomed heart that's upside down. So if you need to turn your rock upside down to do this, go ahead and do that. Next, we're going to add on these fun curling eyebrows, and I kind of wanted to do this on the first one, and I ran out of space because of the bow, so I wanted to get these down here first. And since I put those on, I'm not going to do a bow, but I'm going to do a flower. There's so many things you can do with these guys. You're going to see between all 4 of these skulls, they're all just a little bit different. I'm going to place down some black dots. I'm going to come and add color to these later, so I want to make sure they're big enough to add a dot of color in afterwards. And then I'm going to do kind of a scalloped edge around the bottom portion of the eyes, and I'm kind of working back and forth. I do want to try to keep these as symmetrical as possible, but I'm very forgiving with myself. Now I'm just going to go back and do some coloring in of the spaces that I have created. So I'm using these pastel colors. I've been using these pastel colors in a lot of my Halloween rocks this year. They're just so fun, and I think they looked great for this design. I did go back and add in a few more dots that we will color in later, and then I did go back and hit those flowers with a second coat while we're finishing up this first one. Come back, added my dots, filled them all in with this teal. I love this teal. I did add some dots and dashes to my flowers. And now we're gonna go in and start crisping up some of our lining and filling in the negative space around the flowers that really give this that skull look with those holes for the eye sockets. This is totally necessary to pull it off, and this really makes these flowers pop. So we're just gonna keep going around. I do add a few dots up right above the nose here. We're gonna come add a pop of color in later. Come back with your flower color and really crisp up those outlines. Anywhere that black kind of came across, you want these nice and solid so they look beautiful. Now I'm just finishing this one up. I'm adding lining around anything else that I think needs it to crisp up, and a little bit of a sketchy outline around the skull itself. Now I'm just going to wrap up these other 2 skulls. I mean, the tips are the same. I did adjust where my petals were on this eye. So I'm just going to let this kind of play out behind you while I mention a few things. Like as you can see here, the outside edge of your black line is what's going to show. So you can adjust your outlines however you want to, whatever you want to do. You can change the shape of your flowers. I'm going to just go back in with yellow later and fill in the different petal shapes that I decided to make. So like I said before, there are endless things you can do with these once you kind of see how to lay out your skull. Play around with it. As you can see on those cheeks, I did arches, but I'm going to go back and change those into flower petals later. So you can adjust and play around. You can add to your designs. Just slowly add things to your skull. You don't want it to become muddy. Having a little bit of negative space in there is kind of important. So add elements a little bit at a time. You can always come back and add more. Like I'm going to come back and add eyebrows to this one because I figured I could fit it there. I put the bow to the side. So again, play around with them. This one's going to come to life. I love doing the black outline around the flowers. I just swear that's my favorite part of the whole design is when you start doing the outline and it really makes the flowers kind of pop forward. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Some of the details I added on these final 2s, I did do dots in my flower. I adjusted the bottom of this chin. Again, you want the outside edge of what you draw to look good, so don't worry about the muddy lines. You're going to fill it in. I'm fixing flowers. I do add polka dots to my other bow here in a moment too. I love, love, love that. But yes, again, just play around with it. Have a lot of fun with these. Endless, endless ideas and things that you can do with them. These are my last 4 rocks to complete my 101 rocks that I painted for Halloween this year. The last thing I'm going to show you here at the very end is I did come back with a eraser and get rid of any lines that I didn't cover up with my black. And then they're all done. What do you think? Follow along if you want to see more fun rock painting ideas. Bye-bye.